Located less than a mile and a half from Kings Island, we're off to Camp Cedar. Hey folks, welcome to the Down the Road Travel Channel. My name is Will Van Winkle. For the first time ever, my job was closed on Memorial Day, and we just happened to find ourselves kidless. We realized we had just bought season passes to the Cedar Fair group parks, more on those in another video, and found that Camp Cedar actually had an opening. So we decided to load up the RV and make the four and a half hour drive from Nashville to Mason, Ohio for the long weekend. Camp Cedar offers rental RVs, 73 cottages, and of course you can bring your own RV to use one of over 180 RV sites, which of course is what we did. The 53-acre park offers a socializing and activity hub called the Hornbeam Lodge, multiple pools, one of which is 21 plus, on-site restaurant, a small retail store, fitness centers, private cabanas available for rent at the pool. Golf cart rentals are available for $80 a day. There's a walking trail around the perimeter of the park, a banquet room, of course, bathhouses, laundry facilities, basketball, pickleball, and shuffleboard courts, and a shuttle to Kings Island. That is a lot of amenities. In addition to all that, live music is offered on select days, arts and crafts, movie nights, and family game nights, all of which are listed on their events calendar along with themed weeks. Now, it is probably important to note here that tent camping is not allowed at Camp Cedar. You must either have some type of recreational vehicle or rent a cottage or RV. However, RV sites do come equipped with a picnic table, grill. Most include a fire pit. Some even have a propane fire pit, according to the FAQ sheet that we got when we checked in. Sites are available in back-in, pool-in, full hookup, and have level concrete or blacktop pads. Our site did have a little bit of a left tilt, enough so that I had to try a couple times to get it level. I had to get the leveling blocks out, drive up on those, and then put the stabilizers down. But not so bad that we needed more than what we had. Now, I have had situations where it was just so uneven. I mean, I had to block the RV like crazy. This wasn't too bad. So when I put the stabilizers down, the front wheel came off the ground. I had to stop that, drive up onto some blocks, put some blocks underneath that stabilizer, and then start over again. Wasn't too bad. We got it done, taken care of in pretty decent time. It's usually pretty quick setting up the RV. But just be aware that you may run into a not perfectly level site. And the blacktop, according to Camp Cedar's website, it's billed as an urban camping experience, which, from the lack of taller trees, makes it feel very urban, almost parking lot-like, if you will. I'd hate to be on a blacktop site with no trees in the middle of summer. But, you know, to each their own. I mean, if you're okay with it, if it doesn't produce too much heat for you, if you just like things warmer, that might be a great way for you to go. They do make it easy to buy tickets to local attractions with a link on their homepage leading you to purchase tickets to Kings Island, the Cincinnati Zoo, Newport Aquarium, and Columbus Zoo, all right there. Very easy to find, very easy to navigate. The park is located, Kings Island that is, 1.3 miles from Camp Cedar. The average cost per night is about $150. We paid a little over $200 total for 2 nights. So that average is based on all types of stays, whether you're renting an RV, renting a cottage, or bringing your own. In 2023, Cedar Fair officially ended partnership with Camp Cedar, but obviously there's still some cooperation going on because they have the shuttle. It's very obvious that the $27 million renovations at Camp Cedar were very recent. Honestly, it still looks brand new. To do those renovations, rather, They went the cheapest route possible, but they bulldozed every tree in the area, and they planted these little tiny sticks that produce no shade, and there is no shade anywhere in the park other than under structures that were built, such as over at the Hornbeam Lodge. When you arrive at the park, you will find it occupies both sides of the street. If you're wanting to check in, go to the right. When you pull in, you'll see several small booths. If you've ever been to Fort Wilderness or similar campgrounds linked to theme parks or amusement parks, you'll think that's where I check in. And maybe that's the intention, but there was nobody in any of the booths there. I think there were 3 or 4 of them there, and no one was any of them. Next thought, front door. You walk around to the front door, and there was a sign on there saying meeting in progress. So that front door is the conference center, and that's where they hold their vacation club, timeshare meetings, sales pitch. So after 2 tries to find out where to check in, I finally got it on the 3rd try. You go in through the camp store, which I thought was the restaurant entrance, but it was a camp store entrance. And off to the right-hand side is the desk, the check-in desk, or the checkout counter, depending on if you're purchasing an item or trying to get in. The girl checking us in, she seemed very, very disinterested. Most of the staff actually looks to be local teens rather than work campers, but they do have plenty of now hiring signs around the property. The person that I got, though, she was saying things very non-descriptive, like literally, this is over here, and this is here, and pointing at the map. Your site is here, again, pointing at the map. She said, there's cabins over here, and your site's down here. Well, there were several cabins when we were driving by, so there was no degree of accuracy to how she described where our site was. She didn't draw it on the map like most time you'll check in and they're like, okay, you're here, and you drive around here, and you go down this loop, and blah, blah, blah. It's nothing like that. Just point here, here, here. And we did manage to find the site with little difficulty. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is within the parks are small, maybe 6-inch by 9-inch signs, and then there's street names on probably about 2-inch by 4-inch signs. A couple of signs say don't enter, things like that. There were no street names on the map and no site numbers on the street signs. So luckily, when we pulled in, I saw a parking spot that did not have a vehicle in it, and it had a number on it, so we were kind of able to get our bearings based on that. It was either this street or the next street. It gave us a decent reference point. So we were able to find our site and pull in, no problem. As I said, some streets go one way, and there's a small sign that says, do not enter. There are no arrows on the ground that point which direction you're supposed to go, but if you've ever driven in a Walmart parking lot, people don't pay attention to those arrows anyway. Again, no site numbers on the map, no site numbers on the street signs, no street names on the map. So it can be a little confusing, especially when you have somebody that just doesn't seem to really care if you get to your site or not. Now, with those signs being so small, it is kind of hard to see when you're driving a larger rig, still towing your toad because there's no place to unhook, or if you're driving a truck, towing your travel trailer or your fifth wheel. When you are looking out for the tons of kids that are in the street, and this is the only park where I have ever been in my life where kids were everywhere, great, they're having a good time, they're having fun, but they were not getting out of the way of the vehicles. I had to get several kids off of our pad at least 2 times because they kept going right back while I was trying to back up. If you're in something this size, you may not see what's going on below that camera's point of view or below a certain point on the windshield. So when you have a little kid driving like a hoverboard powered big wheel type thing, they're very low to the ground, and I tried to stay pretty far back, but they kept doing loops in front of us. It's like they were trying to get squished. I'm not real sure. Parents were just watching them, not saying anything to them. So keep an eye on your kids. If there's a big rig coming through or even someone driving a little too fast, they're in danger. Get them out of the road. When you're checking in, you get about 1,000 pieces of paper. which probably could have been condensed to about 2 sheets of paper. One is the frequently asked questions, one is the map, some information on the park, some information on the campground, and then some information on the vacation club. Timeshare. Also a card that we got. Now you can take that card over. There's a yellow painted container store. That is where their vacation club meets. And you get it. They talk to you a little bit. They sign you. They get a voucher. They have to sign the voucher. You can take that over and you get a free pizza. So after we set up, we did that. We went over and we talked to them because it was late. We hadn't eaten dinner yet, and we didn't think we'd make it over to Kings Island to grab something to eat. So we just decided we're going to grab something there. The focus of the vacation club was predominantly hotels. So we weren't super interested in it, but we were hungry and we couldn't get the pizza without the signed voucher. The guy seemed very unprepared. He stated several times his partner wasn't there, and he kept repeating the same information. So we had to assure him that we would call and make an appointment because it was already too late to sit through. They had already had their meeting. But we could call and make an appointment, and then we could join this vacation club timeshare. But when we're traveling locally, we tend to use our RV. Unless we're going like way off to, say, New York or California. You know, we're in the Tennessee area right now. And so if it's within a certain number of hours, we'll drive. If not, then we'll fly. They didn't have any hotels outside of North America. So they had some in Mexico, and I think they had 1 or 2 in Canada. I doubt we would ever use that. Plus, my wife Dana did some digging on it and found that basically you're purchasing what they call stars, I think it was. And you can go to some unpopular destinations for probably about 5 or 6 times the amount that it's worth. So if you are interested in their vacation club timeshare, make sure you look into this to make sure it's worth it for you. If you do feel it's worth it, let me know in the comments below. Personally, for my own use, I don't think it's something that we would use very often. So we received our voucher. We headed over to the Ironwood Grill, which is inside of the Hornbeam Lodge. And they also have like a golf simulator that's over there. So we head over to Ironwood Grill and Tap and ordered from a very disinterested, maybe 18-year-old waitress who was more engaged with her, what I assume to be boyfriend's family and boyfriend, obviously, than with her customers. The manager, 2 other waiters were very attentive. They were great. They checked in on us multiple times, asked us if we wanted something to drink, chatted with us a little bit, you know, asking where you're from, how long you're in the area, things like that. The waitress that took the order, put it in, and we never saw her again other than watching her painfully obvious flirting attempts with this guy. So the waiter who brought us the pizza took a moment to chat with us. He's the one who got the tip. Maybe they do a tip out, maybe they share, and she still got paid, but we feel bad that she didn't get the money because she took the order, but we never saw her again, so we couldn't give her the money. The shuttle to Kings Island. Now, that leaves from the front near those booths that I was talking about earlier where it looks like you check in. It's marked by a portable A-frame sign. Now, the reason I mentioned the portable A-frame sign is because maybe it moves, so maybe it's not always in the same area. But at the time that we were there, it was right there by the entrance to the camp store, between the entrance to the camp store and those booths that look like they're designed to check in. It runs, the first one leaves at 9:30 a.m. Park opens at 10. If you are a season pass holder, you can start riding at 9:30. Gates open at 9:30, but no one other than season pass and maybe the fast lane purchasers or the fast track or fast something, you know what it is, where you can skip the line. After 9:30, it runs every hour starting at 10 a.m. So it runs from 9:30, next one's at 10, and then it's 11, 12, so on until the park closes. And then there's one more leaving 30 minutes after Kings Island closes. Kings Island is pretty close. It's less than a mile and a half away. And it's the small airport shuttle-sized buses that they have. So I thought really it should be running probably about every 15 minutes rather than every hour, because like if there's a reason you need to get back to your RV, perhaps it sprung a leak, perhaps you have a pet there. Pets aren't supposed to be left in the resort unattended. People do it all the time in their own rigs because they know whether or not their pet's going to destroy their rig, and I completely agree with that they should be allowed to do that. And you have monitoring devices so that you know the temperature in there and things like that. But if, like, say the water breaks or the temperature goes out and you need to get back to your RV in a hurry, you may be stuck waiting for at least an hour. Now, since we had the season pass and the all parks pass and everything, not everything they had to offer, but quite a bit, we got free parking. And with the hybrid Maverick, we didn't even use any gas. I mean, it stayed in electric mode for the mile and a quarter that we drove. And that way we had more flexibility. There was plenty of parking, pretty easy. Now, this is Memorial Day weekend, and more than half of the parking lot was empty. So if you have a vehicle, a tow vehicle with you, and you want to drive instead of take the shuttle, you have more flexibility. So that's what we did. The pools were clean. They're surrounded by artificial turf. The AstroTurf probably is what helped keep these pools clean. There was no dirt or grass or anything that could be tracked into the pools because they had the fake grass all around it. So it's probably a good choice there. It looked nice from a distance. From close up, you could tell it was fake, but from a distance, it looked really like a well-manicured lawn and kept a lot of dirt out of there. The adult pool joins the bar, and that's where the live solo artist plays. Looks like it's just one performer that's ever booked there, because that's the only name that I saw on the calendar going from May all the way through August. Now, sometime, because we do have a season pass, I may give them a phone call and see if I can get a gig there, maybe get a couple of free nights out of it. But from what I saw, he's the only performer there. Next to the pool is a playground and the shuffleboard courts as well. And there's a group of converted shipping containers over there as well. One of them is the area where you rent those cabanas. Cabanas are already down at the pool. They have little mini fridges and electric and all kinds of stuff. But you rent them up at the shipping containers. It's also where the vacation club information booth is. There's an ice cream shop. And they say they have several restaurants on site on their webpage. The only thing I saw was the Ironwood Grill and the ice cream place that was closed the entire weekend that we were there. So I don't know where they got several restaurants. Maybe they're including the fast food joints just before you enter the Camp Cedar complex. There is a resort fee. Okay, now this does go to help pay for the free amenities like the shuttle. So I'm torn on these. On one hand, it should all be just kind of included in the price and calculated accordingly. On the other hand, if you're getting something for it, that's great, but it does make it look like it costs less to stay there, and then you can't get out of those resort fees anyway. So, if you're not using the shuttle, if you're not playing shuffleboard or pickleball or basketball or whatever, then you're paying for something that you're not using, rather than if they just included it all in the price, no one would ever question it. Pets are allowed. There's a per day fee there, which I get for cabins, cottages, and the reserved RVs, or rented RVs rather. But if I'm on my own rig, it seems kind of like they're preying on you for having a pet. Now, I guess because some people don't actually clean up after their pets, which they should, maybe that's an argument for it. So they're using that money to pay for and maintain those pet walking areas. Maybe not. I don't really know. Let me know what you think about these tacked on fees, resort fees, and pet fees. For your own rig, you don't have to worry about them destroying anything. It's only about $7 a day, I believe, for the pet fee. If you are in a cottage or RV that is pet friendly, it's $18 a day. And there's a limit of 3 pets per site, regardless of if you're in the RV, cottage, or your own rig. So again, this is one of those parking lot type RV parks. It's nice, it's clean, and they offer a lot of amenities, but it also seems cold and sterile. Now, there are no age restrictions on the RVs. They just ask that they are in good repair and don't look like a meth lab. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, but as long as your RV is in good shape, You know, it's not falling apart and peeling emblems, decals. They'll allow you in regardless of the age. Overall, it's a nice enough park. I ditch the resort fees or work those fees in there, or I would make sure that everything offered was operating. As I said, some of the amenities that are offered weren't working at the time that we were there. I don't know if they were just not open for the season yet, or what, like the ice cream place or the check-in booths or things like that would make life a lot easier. I would also use those check-in booths, by the way. And I would put check-in on both sides of the park. So when somebody's making that reservation, you say, hey, you're going to be on the left side or you're going to be on the right side. Check-in is over here. And that would make life a lot easier, because if we would have had to be on the other side, we would have had to go around the entire park, the entire campground, to get back out and go across the street. So maybe a check-in on both sides, use the booths, move one of the booths over there. I would have personally left a few larger trees to give some shade for RVs whose ACs will be working overtime, especially if you're on a blacktop, hot sun, hot ground. What are you going to do? No shade, so your AC is going to be running non-stop in the summer there. Was it worth the cost? Because of the proximity to Kings Island, I do believe it was worth staying there at least once. When we go back at the end of June, we already have reservations there, and the trip that we just took was on a whim, and we lucked out even having a site because the KOA was booked solid. It's only 10 miles from Kings Island, but there were no campsites available, and it's only about a $20 to $50 difference depending on what type of site you get. So maybe on future visits to Kings Island, we do have the season passes. We'll give that a shot, or maybe look at other places. But for now, we've got Kings Island or Camp Cedar. Now, unlike KOA, Camp Cedar's cancellation policy is kind of hefty. So at a KOA, you're paying $10 if you cancel past a certain date, or before a certain date, rather. Camp Cedar, you have up to 30 days before your reservation. And it's a $35 cancellation fee for that. After 30 days, you are paying the full price. Now, I'm not so sure they couldn't fill that spot. And if you cancel within 30 days, say it's 25 days to your appointment, you're paying full price for that campsite, and they may still get it rented out to somebody else. So it's a pretty hefty cancellation fee, so just make sure before you're booking that you're going to be able to use those. I know things come up, but you're looking at a pretty high price if you have to cancel after that 30-day policy. So, you know, anything with more than 30 days, $35. Anything with less than 30 days, the whole rate. Just to let you know. Hopefully you don't have to cancel your reservation, and you can get out there and you can go to Camp Cedar and you can hit Kings Island and you can have fun and not spend money that you didn't intend to spend for something you didn't use. But I thought I would let you know that. If you like the original music that I've used in the background, you can find that on your favorite streaming app or right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment on the video. And if you have any friends, or if you think this will help you with your vacation planning, make sure you share that as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you down the road.
Let's hit the road. Save my soul.